Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked to Breakfast Central. It's now time for us to have a conversation in business as usual, and it's all about trade opportunities for Africa, and we're zoning in on Lagos State. Now, of course, the continent is offering a plethora of trade opportunities, and of course, Nigeria is no different. The Lagos Free Trade Zone is a visionary effort to transform the area into a world-class economic hub, and the project provides exciting commercial prospects and career opportunities for ambitious achievers. We're joined by Chinju Udora, who's the Assistant Manager Business Development for Lagos Free Trade Zone Company, and she's going to give us more insights on the growing opportunities on the continent, of course, in Lagos. Hello, good morning, welcome.
Hi, good morning, thank you.
All right, let's get straight into it. We're seeing a lot of free trade zones all around the world. Let's get a little bit of insight into what exactly Lagos Free Trade Zone is all about.
Sure. So Lagos Free Trade Zone is a one-of-a-kind project being developed in Nigeria now. We have an area of 805 hectares, which of course we're developing for industrial purposes. So it's going to have industrial for manufacturing purposes, a logistics hub, and also real estate and commercial facilities within the zone itself. So if you look at Nigeria as a whole, we have about 30 different free zones, both publicly and privately owned, but we're completely privately owned by Tolaram Group. And one of our main USPs is that we have a port in-house. So in addition to the free zone itself, we have a deep sea port which we're developing. We're going to have a single clearance windows for your goods and your services. There's the end-to-end facilitation of setting up your business, which makes it easier for investors to come into the country. And of course, we have in-house infrastructure, facilities, services, which makes it really seamless for new businesses to come into the country and to operate their businesses here.
It does sound seamless. Now, what are the advantages of this privately owned free trade zone as opposed to the public ones, the state-owned ones that we see prevalent throughout the country?
So with our zone specifically, one of the things that you have is because it's being done by Tolaram Group, Tolaram is one of the biggest FMCG players in the country. So we have brands such as Indomie, Kellogg's, Dano Milk, Power Oil, Mini-Me, those are all our brands. So we have really strong experience of how to operate business in Nigeria, both in the customs territory and in the free zones. So we have 19 manufacturing facilities around the country. And with that, we have a really deep understanding of how to do business here, which is one of the privileges and benefits that our investors have, because then they understand we can pass on that knowledge that we have onto them. So that image is wrong.
Okay, because that is the Lekki.
Yes.
Okay, well, actually speaking to that, where is the Lagos Free Trade Zone actually located? So
Lagos Free Trade Zone is 65 kilometers east of Lagos, in the Ibeju-Lekki area. So like I was mentioning, Lagos State has about 18,500 hectares of land for industrial development. Lekki Free Zone is one free zone, which is a PPP. It's state and Chinese government owned, and then Lagos Free Trade Zone is 100% privately owned. It's all in the same axis, but about 5 kilometers from each other, completely different zones.
Completely different zones.
Yes.
Okay, so Lekki Free Zone is a completely different project to the Lagos Free Trade Zone. Thank you so much for clarifying that. Let's talk about the rollout of the Lagos Free Trade Zone. How much of it has been developed already, and what does the timeline look like?
So we're developing the zone in a 15-year period. We're currently focusing on phase 1, which is 360 hectares out of the 805. So that's about 45% of the zone that we're developing between now and 2022. So within that, we'll have office space, we'll have the industrial plots for our manufacturers. Housing is there as well, your fire station, we have a medical facility and emergency response unit, your security command, your central processing center, which is really key for these businesses. So you have agencies like customs, immigrations, all in-house. So most of your paperwork is dealt with in-house itself. So those are some of the key things. In addition to your drainage, your street lights, all your infrastructure, the zone management company, which is LFTZ, would be taking care of.
So it's literally a mini city.
Free zones in general, like a country within a country. But then LFTZ itself is a mini city, mostly for industrial operations. And
how much of these operations are going to go outside of the scope of your Indomie brands, the FCMG brands that are already housed within the business?
Yes.
How much cooperation is open for more businesses to come in and even potentially competitors
so there's
to enjoy the benefits?
There's a lot of room for different types of businesses to come in. if you look at what we have now, Indomie is actually not in the zone yet.
Okay.
So we have Kellogg's, which is an international brand, and Tolaram has a joint venture with Kellogg's, and their manufacturing facilities are in the zone. So Power Oil is a group company, but we're open to all sorts of investors.
Okay.
And in fact, we have investors in the zone now, which are not Tolaram companies and are not FMCG products. But then also looking at types of industries that we're looking at chemicals industries, engineering industries, pharmaceuticals as well, packaging, so paper industry is open to come there also. So it depends on the type of demand that we're getting.
And where has the greatest interest come from with regards to investors, people interested in
you mean in terms of geography or type of industry?
I think both, geography and type of industry.
So we get investors from Europe, from Asia, from other African countries also. And in terms of industry, FMCG is a big one because that's what we know and that's what we're doing. But
and that's
also,
what's big in Nigeria.
That's what's big in Nigeria. We have a population of over 190 million people, which you can't ignore. Yeah. So especially as an investor who has no experience of doing business in Nigeria, Tolaram is that trusted partner. So like I mentioned earlier on, we have key strategic partnerships with people like Kellogg's, Colgate, Arla Foods of Denmark, and they all have their facilities within the zone itself.
And currently with the, you look at the, shall I say, the legislative climate and the position that is being taken with regards to importing goods and consuming foreign goods and so forth. How does this shift the vision and the rollout of what's expected to be done? Of course, there will be, a focus on manufacturing and the various industries you spoke of. But, we're not really there yet, are we? Yeah. So, what's the trajectory of that looking like?
So we are in constant conversation with the government, and they're all aware of what the issues are and what the challenges are with manufacturing and thinking about exports and opening up trade to the rest of the African countries. So like we mentioned earlier on, the population of Nigeria is massive. So a lot of the facilities here are actually now catering to the Nigerian market first, and then thinking of expansion and exports in perhaps their second or their third phases. So we're hoping that the legislature will also move in that direction as time goes. And
then, as a gateway to the rest of Africa, because this is we can't ignore the fact that this is a massive hub. What are the opportunities available for not just surrounding West African states, but for the continent at large?
So if you look at manufacturing in Nigeria now, there are a lot of, globally, there are a lot of trade agreements that Nigeria can potentially take advantage of, but we're not, simply because manufacturing here is very expensive. So you look at things like the cost of power, your logistics costs. Within the free zone, Lagos Free Trade Zone, we have solutions to those issues. So for example, there's availability of gas. With the deep sea ports as well, we'll be taking care of your logistics challenges. So it makes manufacturing very competitive, which means that you're competitive enough to then export your goods. So that's one of the ways that we're changing the narrative around doing business and opening up trade to the rest of the world.
It sounds like a dream come true, but I mean, there's obviously a catch, right? What is the catch? There must be, right?
I mean, there are massive benefits for your investors, but also for the government, because there's the FDI, there's investments coming into the country, there's infrastructure that is being built, there's employment which we're generating within the zone to tackle the unemployment challenges that we have in the country. The government also gets tax benefits. So things like duties and VAT are paid on certain goods sold into the Nigerian customs territory. And also the ease of doing business. It's a massive one for us.
That's a big issue.
We've moved from 146 to 131 on the list of 190 countries being ranked. And our president's goal is to get to 70 by 2023. So within the zone itself, by making it very easy for investors to come into the country, we're changing the whole narrative about Nigeria as an investment location and an expansion location for a lot of businesses. So there's a catch for the government as well. So it's not one-sided.
It's not one-sided, but you know what? I do love to hear a positive story about private enterprises who are, not just going about their business, but also contributing towards, the development and the progression of what's going on the continent. So really excited about this. Where do we, if we want to get a look and feel of what is in the trade zone? I know you said it's, in the east of Lagos, but
65 kilometers.
Okay, so just all the way down Lekki.
All the way down. So Lekki Road, and then you cut off at Lekko Junction, and then connect to the coastal road, which also leads to places like Campania. So it's on that coastal road.
And that access at the moment is very busy.
It's
and
very vibrant. So we're looking at contributing about 2% to national GDP by 2023.
Incredible.
Yes.
Massive, massive. Yeah. And of course, because Lagos is Lagos, very strategic location. Yeah. I'm really excited about this. Thank you so much for sharing all the insights. Yeah. And, you know, I think we look forward to seeing some of the vision coming to pass, especially the contribution to GDP, your employment creation and so forth. So thank you so much.
All of that's already happening, and it will only happen in larger extents in the near future.
Exciting stuff. Thank you so much. All right. Well, there you have it. A little conversation about development of business on the African continent with a focus on the Lagos Free Trade Zone, a very exciting project that's surely set to open up business on the continent and in Nigeria. Thank you, Chinju, Udora.